This edition of Checks and Balances TV is brought to you by American Equity Investment Life Insurance Company. Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Checks and Balances TV. Today's program is entitled, A Warning from Bernie Madoff. Don't let Wall Street scam you like I did. So let's hear what wisdom Bernie Madoff has now for us behind bars. In a recent interview with MarketWatch about whether the financial markets are fair and how retail investors can protect themselves from fraudsters like himself, Madoff described decades of dodging scrutiny from toothless regulators and gullible consumers, and said retail investors are the least informed market participants. After all those years of racing to remain one step ahead of the authorities, Madoff has a few ideas about how the market can be made fairer for retail investors. As I'm sure you know by now, Madoff is serving 150 years for orchestrating the biggest Ponzi scheme in history by bilking his clients out of a record-setting $65 billion and fooling regulators for decades before he was finally caught, tried, and sent to prison. In the interview, MarketWatch asked their first question was simply this: you have worked with some of the most elite financial firms on Wall Street. How has it changed since before you started the Ponzi scheme? Madoff's response was, the individual investor is the last person that has any information. The average investor is coming up against professional financial firms, hedge funds, and the professional trader, and it's easy to be scared out of the market. Which, by the way, is exactly why I created Checks and Balances TV, to give you the tools and information you need to financially succeed. Next, MarketWatch asked Bernie this question. They said, you say the individual investor is facing an unfair market environment. What can be done to level the playing field? Bernie's response? He said the SEC needs more resources to protect investors. It's grossly undercapitalized and it doesn't have money to hire the right people. He said basically it's a training ground. By the time people are qualified, they leave and go work for private firms. He said they didn't catch me because the whistleblower, Harry Montopoulos, was leading them down the wrong alley. Bernie said he was an idiot. Not my words, it was Bernie's words. The real point here, though, is for you and I, is that don't depend on the government to protect you and your investments. You have to make the right choices. Next, MarketWatch asked Mr. Madoff this question: where is the safest place to invest money these days with the least amount of risk for fraud? And Bernie said the best chance for the average investor is to put money in an index fund. There are lower commission rates and more professional management there with these type of firms. It's the safest and least likely place to get scammed. And in my book, All the Rules Have Changed, What You Must Do to Succeed in the New Financial Reality, I cover fixed indexed annuities, indexed CDs, and indexed universal life insurance. They're all covered in Chapter 10 of my book. Next, MarketWatch asked Mr. Madoff, if the firm says an investment is too complicated to understand, what do you do? And Bernie said, Wall Street is not that complicated. It's simply this: if you don't understand something, then don't invest your money. He said, people ask me all the time how I was able to produce such great returns year after year after year, and I refused to tell them, and they still invested with me. He said, my investors were sophisticated people, smart enough to know what was going on and how money was made, but still they invested with me without any explanation. He said, things have to make sense for you. If you don't understand the investment, don't put your money in it. Why don't we ever learn that basic rule to investing? If you don't understand it, don't put your money in it. Don't believe what somebody else says. To help you become what I call a savvy investor and smarter consumer, I have a free report I want to get into your hands immediately. And it's entitled The Truth About Ponzi Schemes, Scams, and Blue Sky: How to Protect Yourself and Your Money from the Next Round of Too Good to Be True Investments. And all you have to do is fill out the information to the side of me here with your name and email address and download this free report, which will give you practical steps on how to protect your money and your assets and your nest egg from the next round of too good to be true investments. And if you're looking for what I call a true financial advisor, somebody who's independent, who cares about you, who has an insurance license and securities license, and can offer you the full array of investment options and choices, you can call us for a reference in your area by calling toll-free at 877-575-2288. Again, 877-575-CBTV. Or you can email us at info@checksandbalances.tv. And also, I want to mention that my new book, All the Rules Have Changed, What You Must Do to Succeed in the New Financial Reality, is available, and you can go to alltheruleshavechanged.com to get your book. Again, alltheruleshavechanged.com. I want to help you to become what I call a savvy investor and smarter consumer. What I really want to do is to build what I call a financial fortress around your money, your family, and your future. And I'm also, for a short time, including 7 awesome bonuses for you when you order my book. So again, just go to alltheruleshavechanged.com and get my book into your hands and begin your journey to becoming a smarter consumer and a savvy investor. And don't miss next week's show. It's on Beware the Beneficiary Forum. Naming the wrong people or failing to update your documents can create a mess for your heirs. It's amazing to me how many people fill out a beneficiary form on their IRA, their life insurance, their annuities, their pension plan, all kinds of assets, and forget about it, and years go by and it ends up in the wrong hands. So be sure to watch next week's show as we cover how to be sure that all of your accounts, from savings accounts to investments to insurance products, have the right and correct beneficiary. And there's a primary beneficiary and a contingent beneficiary on some of these, and you want to have the right people in the right place. And finally, remember that only you can control your financial future. You can succeed. You just need confidence and determination. I'm Matt Rettick from Checks and Balances TV. Until next week, dump debt, invest wisely, believe in yourself, and make it happen. This edition of Checks and Balances TV is brought to you by American Equity Investment Life Insurance Company.